What's going on, you guys? Welcome back to the Neighborhood Podcast. One of the hosts of the podcast. My name is Kyle Dabro, and in today's segment, we're going to go over the breaking news that is going on with the Indianapolis Colts right now. So, if you guys are not aware, Frank Reich, the former head coach of the Colts, was let go after just an abysmal performance against the Patriots in Week 9, and now they have named an interim coach. The interim coach for the Colts moving forward will be Jeff Saturday. I think it goes without saying that Jeff Saturday is a legend when it comes to his tenure with the Colts. He was a Super Bowl champion. He went to multiple Pro Bowls and was essentially one of the vanguards of that offensive line when Peyton Manning was running things during his tenure there. So, Kev, I know you got a lot to say about this. It's one thing about the Colts firing Frank Reich, but now we got to talk about Jeff Saturday being the interim head coach. So, to kick this one to you, what are your overall thoughts of the Colts hiring Jeff Saturday as their interim head coach for the rest of the season?
This is the stupidest decision I've ever seen in my life. From the sole moment of when I awoke this morning, I was praying for the firing of Frank Reich because I felt that he was not helping this organization anymore. We've gotten worse over the course of the last 3 years. I saw that he was let go. I was over the moon, and I thought, you know what? This is a perfect opportunity for us to hire internally. This is a perfect opportunity for a number of coaches to step up and try to change the culture, whether that's Gus, John Fox, Bubba on special teams, our special teams coach. And we go and we hire not only externally, we go and we hire a former player in the Ring of Honor who has no coaching experience. He is the first NFL head coach to be hired with zero coaching experience within college or the NFL. Never even a coordinator, never an advisor, nothing. How do you do this? Jim Irsay, how do you let this how do you make this decision? As somebody who was relieved that somebody that at least has coaching experience was let go, somebody that is known for his offensive prowess or what he was known for in terms of his offensive play calling capabilities, you let him go because he's gotten worse and progressively has just led this team to embarrassing losses like yesterday. And then you go and you hire somebody that has zero coaching experience? How does that make sense? How do you take an opportunity away from the internal candidates? How do you want coaches to come and play for you or coach for you? How does this look for the players in the locker room? Coaches that they play for every single week to not even get a chance, not even an interview. You fire Frank at whatever time it was this morning, 10:30, 11, and then you go and you hire Jeff Saturday in the afternoon. Did you think about this? Were you drunk this morning? Are you like what common sense do you have? On what planet does this make sense for anybody in this organization? We are the equivalent of a soap opera with how this season has gone. We were dark horse Super Bowl favorites at some point in July and August. Now, we can't even hire an interim head coach correctly. Oh, Kev, calm down. He's not going to coach the rest of or he's not going to coach after the season. Oh, Kev, this is only for 8 more games. This isn't even that serious. Oh, Kev, let's calm down. The season's already a wash. No, absolutely not. I will not accept mediocrity. If we lose because we lose, that's what it is. You don't hire somebody off the street. Jeff Saturday is respected in the locker room, respected in the organization. He's in the Ring of Honor for a reason. He is a future Hall of Famer, in my opinion. And you go and you hire him because of sheer sentimental value of what he was able to produce for you. At least Reggie Wayne was helping on the side before he became a wide receiver coach. At least Reggie Wayne was able to advise as the seasons progressed when he retired and was seen multiple times, training camp, mini camp, OTAs, whatever, giving advice to young receivers to then get an opportunity to coach the receivers. Now this is what you do. You just hire anybody? What, Peyton didn't answer? Robert Mathis wasn't available? Dwight Freeney wasn't available? Shit, why don't you call Andrew at this point? He hasn't returned any of your calls since he's retired because you botched his fucking career with Ryan Grigson. So you hired Jeff Saturday. This makes sense? He has a career winning percentage of what? Just above 500 in high school football in Georgia, which he hasn't coached in the last 3 years? This is what you do? Bro, sell the team. You have no right to wear anything of the horseshoe. You're an embarrassment as an owner. You're a joke. You're a laughing stock. You keep Frank hired for the last 5 years and we fall apart. We have a new quarterback for the last 7 years and we suck. And then you hire Jeff Saturday. What sense does that fucking make? You had 3 perfectly good hiring candidates internally that you didn't need to do anything. You just had to pick. Bro, put them on a dartboard and close your eyes, bro. Spin Russian roulette for all I care. You're going to sit there and go, I'm going to go hire Jeff. Does that make sense? No, it doesn't. We have no play caller, and nobody on this staff has any experience calling offensive plays because you made the dumb decision to fire Marcus Brady. Now we have no head coach because Jeff's going to sit there with a headset, not know what the hell he's doing. Oh, at least he's an offensive lineman. He can help your offensive line issues. You're a head coach. You want him to improve the offensive line. You make him the offensive line head coach for that. I wouldn't have been mad for that. You don't make him a head coach with no experience. This shows my fandom is 100% right back in question because it's moves like this that make this organization the epitome of a joke. The Colts are washed. Jim Irsay needs to go and sell this team or let his kids make the operational decisions. This completely shows that Chris Ballard had no input because Chris Ballard at least has some form of common sense to make somebody else the head coach. But Jim said, you know what? I got it, Chris. I got a perfect idea. Let's go hire Jeff Saturday. You're supposed to argue with the guy that signs your checks and the guy, a multi-billionaire that owns an NFL team? No. This is a joke. This is horrendous. This is probably the worst decision I've ever seen when it comes to managing an organization in all of sports. I'm washing my hands. I'm not watching another Colts game this year. I don't even give a shit if we win out the season. I'm not watching another game. Jim Irsay deserves no credibility, no props, no credit, no nothing. He is a joke, and I'm not getting off this stand.
Kev, it's kind of crazy to look back at the whole situation that took place this morning because, I mean, let's just kind of go through the timeline of events here. What time did Frank get fired this morning? It was
Somewhere
probably, like 10?
10 to 11 in the morning, something like that.
And, Kev, you were over the moon. And honestly, I didn't even think that was going to happen. I thought that they were going to fire Frank at some point down the line, maybe towards December. I mean, I was of the mindset last night when we were recording our episode, when we were talking about the Patriots game, it's like they need to let him go probably right after that game because it was just an outright travesty of a game where they just got annihilated by the Patriots. So, I mean, I give them at least a smidge of credit for being able to realize the situation at hand, that it was no longer going to be tenable with Frank as the head coach. But to me, I'm not a Colts fan here. I'm just kind of looking at this from an outside perspective. You said it's like a move based off of sentimental value. I base that basically just off of emotional value to what, like you said, what Jeff provided for the Colts when he was there. Because just from a pure football perspective, as far as coaching is concerned, this makes absolutely no sense. There's no sense attached to this whatsoever. And I'm not saying anything bad about Jeff's personal character. I got nothing bad to say about that. And
absolutely not. Incredible human being.
His playing career has been nothing but phenomenal. And it's like you said, he's going to be a Hall of Famer someday. But I don't understand the reasoning or the justification where you sign him as your interim head coach and he's had really nothing to do with the team in any coaching capacity whatsoever. I understand the emotional aspect, and I think that's pretty much a justification for it. But honestly, bro, to kick this one back to you, you're the Colts fan here. Do you see them even trying to finish out this season with any sort of positivity whatsoever? Or do you think it could actually get worse knowing that Jeff's going to be the interim head coach?
This is going to get worse because if I'm looking at Jim Irsay from a coaching perspective, I'm saying, how in the hell did I not get an opportunity? Maybe not for Gus, maybe not for John because this is their first season, but Bubba Ventrone, whatever the hell his last name, he is so well respected in this league as a special teams coordinator. It was his time to shine. He was definitely due up for at least an opportunity. There may only be 8 games left in this season. He deserved at least a shot to show, let me put my ring in. Let me put my name in the hat. Let me put my name in the ring, whatever the saying is. And now my coaching staff is looking at him like, this is who you chose? This is who I'm supposed to follow into war? Because obviously it's known as the game of war. This is who's supposed to lead this team? He has never coached before. How am I as a coach supposed to respect your decisions when you don't know what the fuck you're doing? I'm looking at this and I'm saying, if I'm any coach in the future after this season, I don't want to work for Jim. If I'm a player, I don't want to work for Jim. You can't make a decision on a quarterback. You can't make a decision on a head coach. You can't make a decision on a GM. Like, what? you're just walking around talking nonsense, and the only comments you're willing to make are via Twitter. This is easily jumped into the worst ran organization in sports. I thought Ryan Grigson was a problem, and he definitely was for ruining Andrew Luck's career. Jim Irsay is by far and away ruining the Colts' potential over the course of the next 5 years. You're wasting players' talents. You're wasting the availability of what people have right now. If I'm a player, I don't want to play for you anymore. If I'm a coach, I don't want to work for you anymore. You're going to lose the entire staff. And granted, we're 3-5-1. We're not exactly a good orchestrated team at the moment, but we have coaches in positions right now that you can say, I can build with that. I can work with that. I can grow with this person. He is a leader that is respected by the personnel in this organization. And you go and you do this. This is the hire that you produce. This is what you put out there to the fans. People that have supported this team throughout the failures of last season and the ineptitudes of bringing in any actual free agents in the wide receiver core and starting the season that we did and benching Matt Ryan and firing Marcus Brady and then letting Frank go to hire someone with no experience. This is going to be a train wreck as the season progresses. We're going to continue to lose because hiring an offensive lineman doesn't mean it's going to fix our offensive line issues. So for those of you trying to put that brightness into the universe, that positivity, you can keep that bullshit, because unless Jeff's going to suit up and take a time machine 20 years ago, this isn't going to fix anything. We're still trash. We're still bad. We're just now bad with no leadership, because he may be the head coach. He has no idea what he's doing. So we are 100% here, and we're basically blind in the dark with no weapons and an abandoned warehouse with holes that is we're just going to continue to fall.
Well, I think something that we have to kind of keep in mind here is, Kev's, who's going to call the plays?
We don't have play calling.
You guys just fired Marcus Brady. And then now you got rid of Frank Reich just a couple hours ago. You have nobody on the staff that's going to be able to call the plays. That actually knows the playbook in and out. To me, Kev, I don't know if there's going to be any sort of mutiny that takes place internally within the Colts organization, but I feel like the ingredients are kind of there for it. Just because the amount of incompetence that I've seen from the Colts just really within the last couple of weeks, I mean, it's one thing to not be competitive in football games. Like, that happens. Sometimes you just get your ass kicked and there's nothing you could do about it. But to see the way that this team is run, not just from a coaching perspective, but from an organizational standpoint, when you have somebody like Jim Irsay just make out a decision like this with basically no internal review, nobody's even interviewed about potentially becoming the head coach, and he's just essentially doing this on a whim, that's extremely troubling. And I wouldn't be surprised if there's going to be some internal rumblings about Jim Irsay's status with the ownership of the team. Because I'm going to tell you right now, just from an outside perspective, this is not going to go well inside the facility. Not just with the team. I'm talking about the organization to a larger extent. Just because, and this has nothing to do with Jeff. It's just that Jim went basically around the entire organization and said, yeah, we're going to hire Jeff without any sort of internal process, which is just, that's just insane. I've never seen anything like it. I mean, I've seen some incompetence in the past when it comes to organizations and how they're run. But I think this is the top, bro, when it comes to incompetence. I've never seen anything like this where it just seems this chaotic and this random. So, I mean, Kev, you're the Colts fan here. I mean, if you have any closing thoughts, man, I mean, go right ahead. The floor is yours.
Bro, I got nothing. I really don't. I'm over it. Like, as happy as I was a couple of hours ago. And again, this has nothing to do with Frank or Jeff as individual people, but what Frank was doing was not working for the Colts any longer. It just wasn't. It was due time. It was well overdue, in my opinion. And then this hire makes no sense. It just continues to show exactly what I've been saying over the last couple of years. This team is run poorly, and the phrase of us being a soap opera just continues. The drama that is going to ensue now internally, it's just going to continue to get worse. So I'm over it.